Every year, millions of old Android tablets are forgotten. They're slow, the batteries barely hold a charge, and most people think they're nothing more than e-waste. But I see something different. Today, I'm going to push this old Samsung Galaxy Tab E far beyond what it was ever designed to do. If everything goes according to plan, this outdated tablet could become a fully functional gaming laptop. The only problem? With hardware this old, there's no guarantee it'll even work. Let's find out. Let's start with the tablet itself. From the outside, this poor thing has definitely seen better days. There are two pretty large cracks across the display, and honestly, only God knows what this tablet has been through over the last decade. As for the battery, well, I'm not really sure how to put this politely. The battery percentage drops incredibly fast, even when the tablet is just sitting there doing almost nothing. But despite all that, I did discover something pretty interesting. This tablet supports USB OTG, which means I can connect a mouse using a simple micro USB to USB adapter. Since I want this project to feel as much like a real laptop as possible, I also picked up a compact Bluetooth keyboard. Even better, it has a built-in touchpad, so I won't need to carry a separate mouse around. Let's pair it and see how well it works. Oh my god, there's practically no input lag at all. That's a really good sign. Now comes the much bigger challenge. I need to design and build a custom enclosure that actually looks and functions like a real laptop. But before I can do any of that, I have to completely disassemble the tablet. Not only do I need access to the battery, but removing the original housing will also make the whole device much thinner and easier to fit inside the custom laptop chassis. Getting the tablet apart turned out to be harder than I expected. In fact, I accidentally made a few more cracks in the screen before I finally managed to remove the back cover. But at last, I had access to the inside. The first step was disconnecting all the ribbon cables and removing the battery. Now, this is where things get a little tricky. On tablets like this, you usually can't just remove the battery and power the device directly from a charger. In most cases, it either won't boot at all or will refuse to stay on. That's because the tablet expects to communicate with the battery protection circuit before it'll even power up. So where is that circuit? It's actually inside the original battery pack, hidden underneath a layer of protective tape. Yep, there it is. After carefully separating the protection board from the old battery, I identified the positive and negative terminals, then soldered two wires directly to them. To make the connection more reliable and avoid any accidental shorts, I covered everything with heat shrink tubing. Now came the moment of truth. Would this actually work? 3, 2, 1, power on. Perfect. The tablet booted up without a problem. At first, I was powering it directly from a wall adapter. It worked, but that obviously isn't practical if I want this to be a portable laptop. So instead, I switched over to this power bank, and thankfully, the tablet continued running perfectly. That means the power system is working exactly the way I hoped. There was just one problem. This power bank was way too thick to fit inside the laptop. So the first thing I did was remove its outer casing to make the whole battery pack as slim as possible. Next, I needed to find the positive and negative power lines on the USB output. The goal was to power the tablet directly from the power bank's circuit board instead of having to plug a USB cable into it every time. That way, I could mount the charging ports flush with the outside of the laptop and keep everything looking much cleaner. Once I'd identified the correct terminals, I soldered a pair of wires directly to the positive and negative pads. Perfect. I checked the output with a multimeter, and the board was supplying power exactly as it should. The new power connection was working perfectly. Now, back to the tablet. The front glass is badly cracked, and while that won't affect my plan to turn it into a laptop, it definitely ruins the overall look. So, it's got to go. Removing the glass does come with one major downside. The touchscreen will no longer work, but honestly, that's not a deal breaker. Since this project is going to use a keyboard and mouse anyway, I won't be relying on touch input. After carefully peeling away the shattered glass, I got lucky. The LCD underneath was still in perfect condition. With that out of the way, the most critical part of the project was finally finished. But now came the part I was least looking forward to: building the laptop's chassis. To make this project feel a little more unique, I decided to build the entire enclosure out of wood. Well, not solid wood. The material is actually pine plywood. I chose it because it's strong, flat, easy to cut, and much more affordable than most alternatives. Although, as I would soon find out, it has one pretty annoying drawback. The first piece I made was the display back panel. I left a little extra width on both sides so I'd have enough room later for all the tablet's ports and connectors. Once the back panel was finished, I marked the position of the front camera and drilled a small opening so it would still be usable after everything was assembled. Next, I started building the display frame. I'd already measured and cut all of the wooden strips beforehand, so all I had to do was glue them together into an L-shaped frame. Before attaching that frame to the back panel, though, I had to connect every cable first, including the power cable and the micro USB data cable. To save as much space as possible, I removed the bulky plastic housings from the micro USB connectors, making them much slimmer and easier to fit inside the frame. With the wiring finished, I could finally glue the frame into place. Getting every piece perfectly aligned took a bit of patience, but eventually everything fit together exactly the way I wanted. While I was at it, I also cut a small slot into the top edge of the frame to give me access to the tablet's power button after assembly. Once all the glue had cured, I grabbed some sandpaper and rounded off the sharp edges. That small detail makes the whole laptop feel much smoother and more comfortable to hold. But that's when I discovered the downside of pine plywood. As soon as I sanded through the outer veneer, all the imperfections hiding underneath became visible. It wasn't a structural problem, but it definitely made the finish look a lot less clean than I had hoped. Finally, I built the last trim piece along the bottom of the display. I drilled a small hole through it, so the tablet's cables could be routed down into the laptop's base. After gluing everything securely into place, the display assembly was finally complete, but then I took a step back and looked at the case. And honestly, I just couldn't ignore all the imperfections in the wood. The surface looked much rougher than I wanted, and it really took away from the overall build. So I made the decision to peel off all of the ugly veneer pieces and replace them with fresh ones. It took some extra time, but it was absolutely worth it. This is the final result. It looks so much cleaner and far more polished than before. Next, it was time to build the base of the laptop. Just like the display, I used pine plywood for the main panels. I cut the bottom panel to match the exact size of the display, but I left about 1 extra centimeter along the back edge to make room for the hinges. Then I made 2 identical panels, one for the top of the base and one for the bottom. After that, I rounded off all the corners to give it a cleaner, more finished look. With the panels ready, I started planning the internal layout. I needed to find the best positions for the power bank, the USB ports, and of course, the keyboard on the top panel. Once I was happy with the layout, I could start building the sidewalls. After deciding on the overall height of the laptop, I cut each side panel to size. On the first side panel, I marked and cut openings for the power bank's ports, so I could still charge it and access its buttons from outside the laptop. I did the same thing for the external USB ports, making sure everything would line up neatly once the case was assembled. Finally, I glued all of the side panels together to form the main frame. Before closing it up, I drilled a hole through the rear panel so I could route all of the display cables down into the base of the laptop, keeping the wiring as clean and hidden as possible. Next, I mounted the power bank in its designated spot using hot glue to hold it securely in place. With that done, it was time to install the keyboard. My goal was to have the keyboard sit flush with the top panel, giving the laptop a much cleaner, more integrated look. To make that happen, I traced the outline of the keyboard onto the wooden panel and carefully cut out the opening. I had to take my time here because this plywood is pretty brittle. One wrong cut and the whole piece could crack. Luckily, everything fit exactly as planned. The keyboard dropped perfectly into place, and once I was happy with the fit, I secured it with hot glue from the underside. To connect everything to the tablet, I cut off the micro USB connector from the USB hub and soldered it directly to the 4 wires I'd already prepared inside the tablet. This way, the USB connection is built right into the laptop without any bulky adapters or cables hanging out. Once that's done, I can use the external USB ports just like I would on a normal laptop for things like a mouse, a flash drive, or any other USB peripherals. Next, I turn my attention to the keyboard. Since the laptop already has its own power source, I removed the keyboard's internal battery and wired it directly to the power bank instead. At the same time, I connected the tablet's power cable, so now both the tablet and the keyboard are powered from the same battery. At this point, everything was finally coming together. Now for the moment of truth. Let's power it on and see if the whole system actually works. Perfect. Everything booted up exactly as planned. Since I'd already paired the Bluetooth keyboard earlier, it connected automatically. That means I can control the tablet entirely with the keyboard and touchpad without needing the touchscreen at all. Now it was time for the final assembly. The first thing I did was secure the keyboard to the top panel, making sure everything was aligned and firmly in place. The last piece of the puzzle was the hinges. Instead of making them out of wood, I chose PVC. Wood is simply too brittle for a part that gets opened and closed all the time, while PVC is much tougher and can handle the stress much better. Once the hinges were ready, I bolted them into place. And just like that, the laptop was finally finished. Honestly, I couldn't stop looking at it. It has such a unique design, and it turned out even better than I had imagined. Alright, let's power it on and see how this homemade laptop actually performs. With Wi-Fi up and running, I could finally connect to the internet. The first thing I tried was YouTube. At 480p, videos play surprisingly well. Playback is smooth enough for everyday use, and I didn't run into any major issues. Of course, I couldn't end this project without testing Minecraft. The frame rate hovers around 20 frames per second. It's definitely playable, although it still suffers from the occasional frame drop. The good news is that the keyboard works flawlessly, so controlling the game feels just like using a real laptop. Even the little details came together nicely. The battery percentage is displayed correctly, the keyboard can wake the tablet and turn the screen off, and the built-in camera works perfectly as well. For a laptop that started life as an old Android tablet, I'd call that a pretty successful result. So after this whole process, I finally turned an old tablet into a pretty unique laptop. While the performance isn't going to blow anyone away, it was a super fun project to build. So what do you think of this setup? Drop a comment down below and let me know.